अस्सलामुअलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू. Dear student, let us solve the exercise. Students, we have solved first 3 questions in our last video. Let us take the question number 4. Sketch and label the figure of the following plants and explain them into brief. Sketch and label the figures of the following plants and explain them into brief. The first is a mertensia. The diagram of mertensia is on page number 77, diagram number 6.2, the middle diagram. After that, write down the points. The first point, it belongs to the subkingdom of cryptogams and division Bryophyta. It belongs, Miss Mertensia belong to the subkingdom cryptogam and division Bryophyta. B point, it grows on damp ground and old walls, especially during rainy season. It grows on damp ground and old walls, especially during rainy season, forming a sort of green carpet. Forming a sort of green carpet. The third and sixth point, the thallus bears number of rhizoids on lower surface. The thallus bears number of rhizoids on lower surface. स्टूडेंट्स, अगर डिक्टेशन फास्ट हो रहा है तो वीडियो स्टॉप करके आप लिखिए. D point, on the upper surface thallus shows stalk. On the upper surface thallus shows stalk bearing a capsule which contains spores. On the upper surface thallus shows stalk bearing a capsule which contains spores. The next point E, the capsule at maturity. The capsule at maturity liberates spores. Liberates spores for asexual reproduction. The capsule at maturity liberates spores for, गैप चाहिए दोनों में, spores और for asexual reproduction. Next question. Funaria. Sketch and label the funaria. इसका जो डायग्राम है आपको 6.2 वाला डायग्राम ही इसमें जो फर्स्ट वाला डायग्राम है, पेज नंबर 77, डायग्राम नंबर 6.2. फ्यूनेरिया का फर्स्ट डायग्राम आपको इसमें ड्रॉ करना है. पहले आपको डायग्राम ड्रॉ करना है, उसके बाद आपको पॉइंट्स लिखना है. डायग्राम के लिए जगह छोड़ दीजिए आप. राइट डाउन ए पॉइंट. इट इज़ मोस्ट कॉमनली फाउंड ब्रायोफाइटा. It is most commonly found bryophyta on old damp wall, trunks of trees and damp ground during rainy season. It is most commonly found bryophyta on old damp wall, trunks of trees and damp ground during rainy season. B. A funaria plant is small and consists of minute green leaf-like structure crowded at the apex. A funaria plant is small and consists of minute green leaf-like structures crowded at the apex. Next point, C. On lower side, plants bear a number of slender multicellular thread-like rhizoids which perform the function of roots. On the lower side, plants bears a number of slender multicellular thread-like rhizoids which perform the function of roots. Next point D. The funaria plants reproduce sexually by the fusion of gametes. The funaria plants reproduce sexually by the fusion of gametes. This result in development of plant's body. This results in development of plant body. The funaria plants reproduces sexually by the fusion of gametes. This result in development of plant body. E point. Sporophyte shows presence of stalk bearing a capsule. Sporophyte shows presence of stalk bearing a capsule which contains spores. The capsule at maturity liberates spores for asexual reproduction. The capsule at maturity liberates spores for asexual reproduction. The next question. Fern. First point. Draw the diagram of the fern. It is on page number 77, diagram number 6.2. Sorry, diagram number 6.3, fern. The diagram is diagram number 6.3. Plant of pteridophyta division fern. रेड में लिखा है फर्न, वो वाली डायग्राम आपको ड्रॉ करना है यहाँ. उसके बाद पॉइंट्स लिखना है आपको. फर्न्स आर अ बिग group of highly advanced cryptogams and are widely distributed all over the earth. Ferns are a big group of highly advanced cryptogams and are widely distributed all over the earth. Next, they grow abundantly in cool, shady, moist places. They grow abundantly in cool, shady, moist places. Roots are adventitious. Growing from the underground stem. Adventitious root is called as fibrous root. Roots are adventitious, fibrous, growing from the underground stem. Leaves are well developed on the stem. They show presence of water and food conducting tissues. Next, Spirogyra. Spirogyra, we have written described the Spirogyra in question number 3D. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3D में अपन ने स्केच, लेबल एंड डिस्क्राइब द स्पायरोगायरा लिखे, इसलिए डबल से इसको लिखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. क्वेश्चन नंबर 3D, रेफर फॉर दिस क्वेश्चन. स्पायरोगायरा क्वेश्चन नंबर 3D वहाँ पर रेफर करो उसके लिए. सी द क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. कलेक्ट मोनोकॉट एंड डायकॉट प्लांट अवेलेबल इन योर एरिया. ये आपका प्रोजेक्ट का टॉपिक है. आपको मोनोकॉट और डायकॉट जो है उसके सीड्स भी आप जमा कर सकते पाउच में और चिपका सकते प्रोजेक्ट बुक में. आपको मोनोकॉट के एग्जाम्पल, डायकॉट के एग्जाम्पल कलेक्ट करना है, उसकी इन्फॉर्मेशन लिखना है. दिस इज़ आवर टॉपिक ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट, फर्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट. आपको साइंस जनरल के साथ साथ प्रोजेक्ट बुक भी बनाना है, तो ये प्रोजेक्ट का टॉपिक है. ये एक्टिविटी आपके लिए. कलेक्ट मोनोकॉट एंड डायकॉट प्लांट अवेलेबल इन योर लोकेलिटी. आफ्टर दैट द लास्ट क्वेश्चन, question number 6. Which criteria are used for the classification of plants? Explain with reasons. The answer is on textbook page number 75. Textbook. See the basis for classification. The first paragraph of basis of classification. Basis of classification का जो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ है वो उसका आंसर है. See the answer. Answer is on page number 75. The presence or absence of organ is the first criteria for classification of plants. The presence or absence of organ is the first criteria for classification of plant. The presence or absence of separate conducting tissues. The presence or absence of separate conducting tissues for conduction of water and food is the next consideration for classification. Do the plants bear seeds? If they do, then whether the seeds are enclosed in fruit or not. Do the plants bear seeds? If they do, then whether the seeds are enclosed in a fruit or not is also an important criterion for classification. Whether the seeds are enclosed in a fruit or not is also an important criterion for classification. Finally, plants are grouped depending upon the number of cotyledons in the seeds. So this answer is on page number 75. 75 पेज पे बेसिक्स ऑफ क्लासिफिकेशन का पहला पैराग्राफ जो है वो इसका आंसर है. हियर वी हैव कंप्लीटेड द एक्सरसाइज. कंप्लीट योर नोटबुक. I will check your notebook when you will come. So see, here we have completed the lesson number 6, the explanation of lesson number 6 and writing work of lesson number 6. Then be ready for test. I will take test in our upcoming video. Be prepared, read the lesson thoroughly and exercise also. Allah Hafiz.